Good morning, good afternoon, depending where you are. Welcome, Genopilot members. My name is Dr. Sherry Jiang, and I'm the founder of Genopilot. I hope everyone is having an awesome summertime like I have been. It's really beautiful here in the northwest of the country, and I'm sure you are all over the places. So welcome, and we have a really exciting program today. As I explained in my invitation for our members, we are getting into from a bigger systems. We'll talk about breathing for aging, movements, and nutrition, performance, resistance training. Now we're dedicate the next 3 sessions of learning and discussion into your cells, how you age at the cellular level. And after all these discussions and evidence review, you will agree that's the fundamental places and opportunity for us to live healthier life, increasing your health span. Okay, so let me put my screen on a bigger presentation mode so you can see the information more clearly as we did before. Okay. All right, apply. I hope you've seen the changes for better. All right. Raise your hand or just put a comment in the chat box if you need anything. Okay. So for the new friends, new members to this program, as I said, I'm the founder of this beautiful platform you are part of. Before that, I devoted more than 11 years in discovery of new evidence using genomics, but focusing on obesity metabolic syndrome, which is a big epidemic issues. It's a pandemic issues globally too, as you know. And then, long story short, I was determined to utilize my know-how that I developed over decades of dedication to science for health through nutrition, to provide the world, me as the first customer and you as the recent recipient of the benefits, I hope, to access your own genome. Your genome, we equip you the way to access your own genomic information that you inherited from 2.5 million of years of your ancestry, and then to decode such that we know what are the foods and nutrition and lifestyles better for your health. And then that's the vehicle to deliver that is Genopilot, which is a US leading nutrigenomics health tech platforms. We have extensive partnerships in the ecosystem for this medicine, which makes me want to get up every day in the morning. And we have, thanks to all of you, we have created this wonderful learning, sharing, inspiring space for us to succeed together. So when we talk about sensitive health issues, cases, even talk about your own, I will share mine, and some of you gracefully share yours along the line. Don't be shy, and we're here to inspire each other to succeed. The topic of this long-range program, based on our customer research that some of you contributed to our intellect learnings, is to focus on something called health span extension. I was, just to share a story with you, I was in a beautiful wedding party. I sat down with 2 brilliant young, we talk about 24 years old young men. Both are very, very healthy living, focus on nutrition, do a lot of performing exercise programs, and they know what I do. So they sat down, asked me a few questions. They asked me what I'm working on, and I share with them I'm working on health span extension, and sure enough, they asked me, what is health span versus lifespan? So we had a wonderful an hour-long talk. So just to share with you, that's what it's important for the world. That's why I'm so excited about this this regimen or this journey that we are on together. When you talk about health span versus lifespan, you should think about the proportion of later part of your life that is disease, filled with disease. That's the opposite of the health span, right? So if we can elongate the disease-free time of your life, and we are doing our job of help you to live longer and healthier. So this is what this whole program is about. And earlier, if you remember, we talked about the 12 hallmarks at cellular molecular systems biology level that is really exploded in recent scientific finding, right? We were talking about immortality or never forever young for probably thousands of years in our cultural history, but never until recently we're talking about 100 years if you talk about molecular biology and genetics, 50 years is talking about chemistry and cellular, and then probably only 10 years or even a shorter time where we have access to so much new learnings about aging. Now we're on a fast-paced trajectory to really tackle aging as a disease, which is only defined as a disease, by the way, in 2018 by WHO. Particularly, especially later today, we have top-notch, world-class scientists and researcher to join me today to present you the evidence and his perspectives, current opinions in the field about mitochondrial dysfunction. The powerhouse, as you know from our previous programs, mitochondria almost in any single cells of your body is the powerhouse, the energy. Without mitochondria, we will die, right? Cellular functions will cease, the whole system will shut down. So it's a super important. We talk about, that's where the ATP, the molecule you heard, or, you even drink from Monster drinks and, energy drinks contain to provide your body more energy. There are actually thousands of mitochondria in any given cells that have full function. And if I quiz you, we talk about different organs have different numbers of average cellular mitochondria. Do you remember which organ has the most density or concentration of mitochondria? We talk about brain, we talk about liver, talk about heart, talk about skin. If you know, put in the chat box for fun. It's heart. Heart cells have the most highest concentration of mitochondria because we need so much energy for heart to work the system. And unfortunately, this is bad news when we just get into aging discovery, that we know for every decade of your age, we all will lose naturally about 8% of the functionality of our mitochondria. And we talk about, thank you, Michael. I just saw your response. You are correct. That's hard. Every decade, starting from 30, and we're going to have this decline in functionality of mitochondria. This is based on extensive evidence and research. But there is a way to potentially slow it down, even reverse it. We talk about some strategies in the past. Feel free to go back to our library of content that we share with members only. And then if I can refresh, I am a visual person, a visual learner. I'm sure lots of you are as well. So I put a picture here. This is the anatomy of a mitochondrion, right? Plural mitochondria. Probably refresh your memory from your high school biology class. The way I think about the powerhouse here, this is definitely thousands of times of amplified picture of your mitochondrion. You can think about that almost like a battery, right? Just like our battery of your big machine. Let's say you have a Tesla or you have a big device or computer you rely on every day for big jobs. The batteries in your device will lose the capacity to be recharged over time. That's essentially what happens here, right? The mitochondria quantity will decline over time when we age. The quality, the capacity of each mitochondria also decline because we age. That's where the opportunities comes in. By the way, mitochondrion also has its own mitochondrial DNA. And we talk about a little bit as a fun fact, and that's actually you only inherit your mitochondrial DNA from your mother, not from your father. So geneticists like myself can use your mitochondrial DNA to find out your maternal ancestry if we want to. Another high school biology chart here talking about the electron transport chain system, where they go through all these towers. The green towers you are seeing on the screen are very complex protein structure, and they are sitting in the inner membrane of your mitochondria, and to allow the electron to be transferred from NADH all the way to generate your ATP energy. Our guest speaker gonna dive into some aspects of it. What will happen if your mitochondria are not functioning over time, or because of certain genetic disease or accidental trauma? They're actually from graying of our hair all the way to Parkinson's disease are all evidence to associate with different degrees with mitochondrial dysfunction. So it's definitely something we need to care a lot about. When it comes down to weight loss, I remember we talk about this evidence particularly as part of the weight management learning program, where on the top left side, when you see this colorful picture, on the left side is a young male lean muscle bundle. You can see some lipids, which is depicted in yellow bubbles. They are compared to, if you compare to the muscle bundles or samples from obese elderly individual male too, you will see the difference between the concentration of the lipids and also the structure. And below that, when you look at the much amplified capacity under electronic device, and we can see that all those the lipids are so much larger inside of the muscle specimen, and then the concentration of mitochondria measured and displayed on the right side in the bar charts also show us the different concentration, the quantity of mitochondria in these two groups of individuals. And then, as I shared before, evidence has shown when we compare individuals of different ages separated by age groups, usually 5 years to 10 years as an interval, we have observed on average 8% of the decay of mitochondria in the skeletal muscle by function for every decade of age. So 30 compared to 40, 40 compared to 50, you have continuous decay of the function of your mitochondria. And then when we reach 65, depends on the gender, I believe that the decline rate accelerated to 1% per year. That's the recent evidence I've seen. All right. So with all these, a summary of the previous, some evidence we reviewed together in the context of metabolic issues and broader sense, it is my great pleasure and really honor to have today's guest speaker to speak to all of us, and I'm sure I will learn something new as well, even though I'm very, very familiar with Dr. She's work. So Professor Jin-Xiong She now is a dear friend. He is one of the most cited in the world, most cited academic researcher for longevity in the world. You know, if you put the numbers to it, a very well accomplished researcher, scientist will have, you know, in the north of 100 peer-reviewed publications, and as you see here, Professor She has more than 400. So that's definitely monumental work through his 4 decades of dedication to research. During his very spectacular academic career, he developed deeply involved into longevity, even before longevity is, is an industry sector that we can approach with applications. Well, years before that. So he's definitely at the frontier for healthy aging, healthspan extension, at the cellular top expert for cellular aging in particular. So because of his accomplishments and knowledge, I have the honor to invite him to speak to all of us about his research, his current solutions and strategies he's put out to help everybody live longer, healthier, me included. So, hi.
Hello.
Hi, Professor Jin-Xiong She, or Jin-Xiong, my friend.
Nice to be here, Sherry.
Very, very pleased that you can join us. I'm sure we'll learn a lot about longevity and healthspan and cellular aging, everything from you. And then you always projected to be such a composed, you know it all, but you're so humble and, with high humility, so wise. You teach me not only about science, but also way of living. So I cannot wait to introduce you to our GenoPalace members who are wonderful.
Thank you very much for the invitation. It's my honor to be here to share my experience and a little bit of my knowledge. So hopefully it will be beneficial to your members.
I am certain. So please take away. I will excuse myself.
All right. All right. Hello, everyone. So I am going to share with you some secrets to play tennis at 100. This is my personal goal, and it's also my goal to help as many people as possible to achieve. Maybe you don't like tennis, but you can pick your favorite activity, whether it's golf, whether it's swimming, or it's just to play with your grandkids. And my mission for now is to provide the knowledge and tools for as many people as possible to be able to do what they can do well beyond their 90s and hopefully beyond their 100 years. And as Sherry said, I'm becoming a relatively old dude in chronological age, but biologically and psychologically, I am young and I want to stay young. And since with my experience, and today I want to talk a little bit about the philosophy. And as I have extensive experience in educating medical students, graduate students, and even undergraduate and high school students. And I very often want them to understand the philosophy first, and then to gain the knowledge. So we'll talk a little bit about philosophy on anti-aging or wellness, and then we'll dive a little bit into mitochondria and how mitochondria function and what we can do to preserve and even reverse mitochondrial dysfunction. Now, since ancient times, one of the most intriguing questions is how long can we really live? And is it 100 years? Is it 150, 200 years, or forever? This is a question that we don't really have an answer. And the answer will become more clear as science advances and as more tools and knowledge become available. Since I'm not smart enough, I tried to go to the ancient wisdom. And as a Chinese, I looked into the Chinese ancient philosophy called Taoism. As you know, achieving yin-yang balance is really the ultimate goal of the universe. The universe works on balance, and the yin-yang theory applies to almost every single phenomena that we see. And it also applies to wellness and longevity. If you look at the history so far, only 8 Taoists have achieved immortality. How did they do it? And can you do it? And how you may be able to achieve this greater goal? Now, in order to answer that question, we can look at the determinants of life. I'm sure you are very familiar with Sherry's work, and she's a geneticist, so am I. And we both know, and you probably know as well, that genes do play an important role in determining how long we live and how healthy we are and how long we can live. The roles of genes cannot be underestimated. However, the genetic contribution to lifespan and health span is relatively small. Some people argue it's 10%, others may argue it's 20%, but I can tell you that what I know is the genes, although they are important, but they are not the final decision makers for what kind of life we can live. And how much genes contribute also depends on the person. For some individuals, they may have a major contribution, but for the vast majority of us, the genes are a minor contributor to our health and to our lifespan. That's good news, because we are born with our genes. We cannot change them, but we can use the genetic information to modify our behavior, what we eat, how much we eat, what we drink, what we don't drink, what exposures that we expose us to, and what's your microbiome in the gut, in the oral cavity. All these things that we can call modifiable factors or epigenetic factors really, to a large degree, determine how healthy we are, how long we can stay healthy, and whether you can play tennis at 100 and beyond. Now, when the genes and the epigenetic factors are in perfect harmony, you can achieve a long lifespan and potentially even become immortal. I don't want to talk about immortality because this is something that most people don't like, and I'm not trying to help anyone or myself to achieve immortality. But my immediate goal is, can we get, let's say, 90%, 95% of people to live beyond 100 years and be able to do the activities that they would like to do. Now, unfortunately, as Sherry pointed out, the health span, the number of healthy years that most people can achieve is only about 60 years. Maybe, I think 65 is already an exaggeration. Most people already have one or multiple age-related chronic diseases that we see every day, whether it's diabetes, cancer, cardiovascular disease, or now non-COVID. Because this gap between health span and lifespan is something that we can immediately close, or at least shorten. If we can close this gap of 20 to 30 years, we actually can extend lifespan by the same amount, 20 to 30 years. On average, in the industrialized countries, the life expectancy is around 80 years. Imagine if we can extend it 20 to 30 years, we live healthy beyond 100 years. This is an achievable goal for now with the tools we already have, but there are a number of things that we have to do to achieve these goals. So, how can we achieve these goals? Put it simply, is that you want to keep your genes happy by your own behavior. And you want, if you are still healthy, I wish all of you are, or most of you are, and you want to stay where you are, and if you are not so healthy, you want to reverse the status now and go back to the harmony that we all wish to have to keep us young forever or for a long time. You, at least, you don't want the situation to deteriorate, to become a chaotic situation, as you can see here on the right. I don't know what you can see, my mouse pointer. And so these are the simple things that you need to do. The take-home message is keep your genes happy, have a healthy lifestyle, do what you need to stay healthy, and hopefully reverse the unhealthy situation that you currently are. And the paradigm that I came up with to achieve a healthy non-health span is a three-step process that I call Tao, from the Taoism theory. And the Tao here stands for test, act, and optimize. These are three essential components of achieving a healthy life. Now, testing is the first step. Testing is a great idea, and testing can achieve many different purposes that are essential. The first one is using testing, you can identify abnormalities or deficiencies that you may have now. And testing also allows us to define what are the optimal ranges for biomarkers, and you want to get each single biomarker into the optimal range if you want to have a non-health span. And testing also allows us to evaluate the efficacy of interventions, whether it's a lifestyle intervention or supplementation or even a pharmaceutical intervention. It's really important to know whether the intervention is working for you. And while we care about our neighbors, our friends and family, but when it comes to health, it's really a personalized solution. You must know whether any solution that you are getting is actually delivering the outcome for you and for you only. All right. And testing also allows us to adjust and optimize the actions and the dosages of nutrition or supplements or even pharmaceutical drugs, and to achieve the best outcome. And finally, safety issues. I work with many biohackers. I'm sure some of you are familiar with the term biohackers, and these are individuals who take their own health, their own longevity into their own hands. They experiment with various solutions on their own, and many of them have advice from experts like Sherry and many other doctors. So testing is fundamental, and I'm sure you understand it because you are with Sherry's program, and testing is the fundamental approach that Sherry has taken. That's very important. Now, we know the testing is important, but what do we test? And what tests are important? I can give you a long list of tests that you can do, but think about the purpose of testing. And if you distill all the different purposes for testing, there are three. One is you want the biomarkers to be predictive. It tells you what might happen in sometime in the future. It can be a few months, can be a few years, or very often it can be a few decades. So it has to be predictive. And the second goal is you want to use the information for preventive interventions. And finally, you want to use the information to prioritize your own actions. We all have a number of what I call suboptimal health or sub-health issues. It's very hard to deal with many of them simultaneously, or known as one of the goals. But if you can prioritize and deal with the most important issues, you are likely to achieve better outcome. I very often tell my clients, my colleagues, that if you can address the top three weakest link, the top three health issues that you have, you are likely to extend. If you deal with one weakest link, you can probably extend your health span by 5 to 10 years. And if you can deal with the top three, you are gaining 15 to 30 years. That's how you want to do it. You divide and conquer. So prioritization is obviously also very important. Now, when it comes to action, you want to use the testing and biomarker data and to guide your intervention programs. So you need to be very precise, you need to be personalized, and you want to take a holistic approach. And more importantly, you want to do it proactively, and you want to do it persistently. And proactively and persistence are really important, and is underemphasized by most experts or individuals. So I'll come back to this a little more. So this program is not a one-time event. You cannot just test and intervene once and hope that it will last forever. Unfortunately, that's not how we can achieve health goals. This is an iterative process. You want to test, you want to intervene, and then you want to retest to adjust your program. This is a loop that goes on and on until you achieve your personal goals. As I said, for me, it's being able to play tennis at 100. So this is important. That's why persistence becomes extremely important when it comes to your own personal health goals. This is just the recap of what I talk about, and the TAO program that we put in place, and the 8 pillars of TAO, the 8 P words: proactive, predictive, preventive, prioritization, precision, personalization, parallel or holistic, and persistence. You really want to keep in mind these 8 elements are all important. If you stick to these 8 pillars, you are likely going to achieve great health outcomes. So the mindset is actually more important than anything else. Now let's talk about what we should test. And I'm sure that some of you may have heard a gentleman called Brian Johnson. He is the most famous biohacker in the world. This guy developed the Braintree, which is a financial platform. He made $800 million at the age of 38, and he sold his company to Elon Musk. And since he's 38, young and with plenty of money, and he was trying to figure out what to do. And after years of investigation, and he decided to dedicate his life and his money to improve his own health. And his slogan is "Don't die." And I think it's a great goal. We will share that goal. We don't want to die, at least too prematurely. He is now spending over $2 million a year on his own health program. And at the same time, he's developing some very important tools and creating a movement on health span and lifespan. I have been working with Brian for 4 or 5 years, long before he became famous. He's now on all kinds of media program, ABC, CNN, and all these important news media. And we have been working together, and this guy is testing everything that can be tested now. Obviously, most people are not going to be able to do what he does. So that's why we need to prioritize, and we need to figure out what are the most important biomarkers to test. Now, Sherry introduced the concept of hallmarks of aging. Initially, there were 9 listed here, and Sherry talked about the 12 hallmarks of aging. They are all very good and all very important. And I started looking into what might be involved in aging and what are the potential hallmarks. I was able to actually come up with 30 different hallmarks. And these 30 hallmarks cover the entire biological information flow. If you have a biology background, you wouldn't know. Now, in our body, the biological information is largely determined by our DNA, and DNA doesn't change. And you are born with your DNA, you inherit them from your parents, and they, by and large, they don't change. What does change all the time is the structure and the condensation of the DNA. And DNA is organized into chromosomes, and chromosomes is wrapped up with proteins. And the DNA is also can be modified by different chemical reactions. One of the most important modifications is called methylation. Now, methylation is very important because it controls whether the genes are on or off. Now, the right genes should be turned on and turned off at the right location and at the right time. That's how we control the biological processes in different organs and different cell types and the different stages of our life. That's all very important. And very quickly, from DNA, it goes to the RNA. That translates your information from the DNA into proteins and all the way to metabolites, cell function, organ function, and whole body function. This entire process from the micro level to the macro level are involved in aging, and everything that happens are important. So if you organize all this information a little further, you can come up with factors at the cellular level and between cells, and to see how they impact the aging process and how they influence your health. So that can be done at a molecular level, at a cellular level, and how the cells communicate with each other, and how the tissues and organs are changed or damaged or altered. And another very important group of factors is how your body, what are the external microbiomes, bacteria, viruses, and how they can influence your health status. And finally, the last one is the interaction between our body with the external environment and external signal. This is extremely important, and very few people or no one really talks about it. It's all these 6 levels of changes can have a major impact on how you age and how healthy you are. And we need to look at every single level to come up with a holistic approach to stay young and healthy. All right, so that's still way too much information. At the end, we still have to come up with a managed number of tests, and different scientists will come up with different proposals. And to me, I came up with 8 different categories that are really essential. Some of these you already know, and today we're going to talk a little bit about mitochondrial dysfunction or mitochondrial function. And inflammation is something that you are probably very familiar with, and many people talk about it. And this cellular senescence is another one that's very important. And there are a number of others. So due to my time constraint, I will not dive into these issues, and we can probably come back and talk about them in the future. So let's dive very quickly into probably the most important risk factor for diseases and poor health. That's mitochondria. Mitochondrial dysfunction is a root cause for almost all aging-related diseases. Now, what's the function of mitochondria? There are 2 major functions. One is what we want. The other is what we don't want, but it's a byproduct of the function. So mitochondria is designed or developed to produce energy. And the cellular energy is in the form of a molecule called ATP. ATP is like the gasoline of your engine. If you don't have ATP, your cells wouldn't work, just like your engine wouldn't run without gasoline. Very, very simple to understand. However, as a byproduct of producing cellular energy, you also produce a byproduct called oxidative stress or free radicals. You may have heard of these terms. Just like when your engine burns gasoline, it produces CO2, right? That's an environmental problem. And your body also burns oxygen to produce ATP, but it produces CO2 and free radicals. Free radicals are really bad for our health. We'll come back to that point. Now, mitochondria obviously is the power plant of our cells, as Dr. Zhang pointed out. If you look at how the ATP is produced, the vast majority of ATP, over 95% of ATP is produced within the mitochondria with the help of a small molecule that we call coenzyme. And this coenzyme, by the way, is a compound that helps other enzymes to function. This particular coenzyme that helps the mitochondria to produce ATP is called NAD, or nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. NAD is the king for the mitochondria. Without NAD, you cannot produce ATP. Without ATP, survival for more than a few minutes is impossible. So, mitochondria function, just remember that the number one function of mitochondria is to produce ATP. And the production for ATP requires the help of NAD. What is NAD? Well, this is the molecular structure of the NAD. You don't have to remember it. We don't have a quiz at the end. And it's a coenzyme that not only helps the production of ATP, but it's involved in the function of over 500 other enzymes, including repair of damaged DNA. It helps you to sleep, and it helps to combat inflammation and many other cellular processes. It has many, many functions. That's all you need to know. Now, NAD is present in every single cell of our body because every cell requires ATP to function. And you can look at all the different tissues that are influenced by the lack of NAD or where NAD is extremely important. And these are just examples. And every single cell requires NAD. And if you have great NAD, that your cells would function much, much better. And your performance can be improved dramatically. It helps everyone. It also helps super athletes. For example, this young girl, Senera Barnes, in 2023, she ranks number 16 in the world in 100 meters. And with the help of NAD, she climbed to number 3 in 2024. All right. Now, there are a number of benefits that one can get from optimized NAD level. I have it listed here. You can read it faster than I can read. Number one benefit is increased energy. After that, I don't know which one is number 2. I mean, they are all important. And some very interesting findings from the last few months is, number one, the number one reason of heart failure, the number one killer of people in industrialized countries, cardiovascular disease, heart failure. Number one risk factor, number one reason for heart failure is actually the defective energy production because of NAD deficiency. So NAD can actually be used to treat heart failure patients, and can be used to treat a number of other common health conditions that we see. And this again is another example that we have. And Ted Steinberger, he was the first to travel on his tiny boat from California to Hawaii about 5 years ago. And he just completed a mission to save the ocean because of the plastic waste. And he rode solo from Hawaii to Australia on his own without help. And he credited the accomplishment to his optimized NAD level. And these are some examples of endurance athletes, super athletes, but it works even better for average person like myself and probably many of you. Now, another very important function of NAD is if you can get your NAD optimized, it works better for everything else. I'm now going to dive into the details because my time is running out. Unfortunately, NAD levels decline with age. As early as our 30s, even about 25% of very young individuals, the NAD levels are already deficient. So you really need to get your NAD from somewhere here to above 40 micromolar to get the full benefit of NAD. All right. Now, in order to get the NAD optimized, you really have to test to know where the NAD level is. And fortunately, testing has become possible in the last 5 years or so. And this test can be done at home. So with the testing information, you can find out where you are, whether you're deficient or not, and you want to really go from potentially in red or orange levels to the green or the optimum range. And this is now very doable with various solutions. Some of the solutions are listed here. I don't have time to dive into it because my time is running out. And if you use the right approach, you can actually get your NAD increased by over 100% and achieve a great outcome. And one thing I want to point out is, there are many solutions. You want to test to figure out what's the best solution for you. Some work great, some don't so well. And the testing really allows you to see whether you are making progress, or sometimes, like in this individual, it actually has gone overboard. You want to get into the green zone, and that's what you need to achieve. This is this gentleman now. I'm proud to tell you that my tennis game has improved by over 25 years. I'm determined to stay at my current level. I play better tennis now than about 25, 30 years ago. That's why I chose my title. I want to play tennis at 100 and beyond. And we now have the solution to do it. I don't have time to go into oxidative stress. Maybe we'll save it for next time. I just say one word. Oxidative stress is like this tomato. Hopefully you are here now. With oxidative stress, that's what happens. Not only it happens to tomatoes, it also happens to your cells. You don't want this to happen. And we have solutions now to prevent this from happening or even reverse this process. I'll stop here because Sherry has come up and signals to me it's time for me to shut up.
No, I would never dare. Oh my God.
No, I'm joking.
The only time I know we just want to be respectful for our members. Sometimes members have to go. They allocate precious 1 hour for us. Sometimes it's as you know, it's hard. Life is always of balance.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about the oxidative stress next time.
Absolutely. Yeah, we will have plenty. We will definitely have you back, as I'm sure all members would agree. But I have to share, I learn every time I hear you talk, I learn something new. But today is the first day I set a new longevity goal for myself. Do you want to know what it is?
Of course.
So I suck at tennis, even though I like playing, but I suck at it. So that will be my thing.
Right. Let me tell you and your members. Tennis is the #1 longevity tool. Okay. On average, tennis players have lived 10 years longer than non-tennis players. And that's why I chose the title. Any kind of racket sports can extend lifespan by 5 to 10 years. Tennis being the best, badminton the next. If you like a pickleball, it's fine. We don't know. Pickleball is too new. We don't have data. Ping pong.
Study that. I bet that will be up there too. But I just want to share with you. You really have me to set a new goal. I'm serious about this because I love traveling. I love Paris. So my goal is to live until 100 years old of me. Hopefully, I can still.
Not hopefully, you can do it. You can do it.
To Paris and back. That's my goal. So thank you for your inspiration and strategies. So we have a few minutes if people want to stay on. Usually members do. If you have any questions, as I'm just have a casual, hopefully intelligent conversation with my friend, Dr. Professor She here, and you can ask your questions away.
Yeah, there's a question. There's a question here. It says, "Wow, lots of information. I don't know about living to infinity part." No. I agree with you. I'm not an immortalist, and I totally agree. I have it there because this is a goal of some people, and that's not my personal goal. And there are philosophical issues, and there are many other issues. But I think the minimum goal for us should be to live healthy as long as possible, and that's doable. It's achievable, and we'll talk about. We'll take a long time to talk about immortality.
So, can I ask you, Jin-Xiong, what made you study medicine first? Right, you are a very distinguished scientist and professor in the field of medicine, precision medicine. After you become a expert like myself, I'm in the precision medicine first and precision nutrition now. And then specifically longevity is your pursuit, just like mine. So what got you interested in this direction?
Well, I got interested in medicine because like many people, we all have relatives who have health issues. My parents, my sister actually died very young, at a young age of 36, and my father also had major health issues. So we all want to help our loved ones. I mean, that's a common thing. But for me, and I think with the knowledge and expertise I developed over the years, it became very clear to me. Prevention is the solution for health, and we as a society were not going to be able to just use the very expensive procedures. We cannot afford it, and it's not the best way. And prevention is the best solution, and prevention is doable. And we, unfortunately, our government and many other governments don't really put the resources into prevention. But I think that trend is turning now, not from the government, but from the population. And we have to take the issue at our own hands, and the government mostly will not come to our aid. And they have too many other issues to worry about. So, and And I'm in my early 60s, and if I don't do anything for myself, I don't have too many healthy years left based on statistics. And there's a selfish reason, and there's also ultra selfish reason. Many people in medicine do want to help. I think you would agree. And we want to help ourselves, we want to help our loved ones, and we want to help everyone else that we can help. And both you and me, and we came out of academia because we have the expertise from academia, but in academia we are not putting our skills and knowledge into practice to benefit society. And the only way to do it is through products and services that we can offer to our members, our clients, and many of them, our clients become friends and they become a family, and just like yours, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm doing that way, so that's what I believe as well. Spending decades and applying for patents, and then 10 years later, maybe you have a drug that benefits some people, or sometimes not even. That's just wrong and too slow, right? And I know, we can benefit ourselves. It's not selfish at all. It's where everything invention starts. Benefit yourself, believe that you try it for the world, and then eventually benefit so many people in this generation and our next. So I am a believer as you are in this. So I love your Tao, and I love that I grew up in northern China too. So I have the Western and the Eastern kind of wisdom or upbringing here. So I think it's brilliant you actually put this one cultural, one scientific elements, concepts brilliantly together. Test, act, optimize. I'm gonna quiz myself now. And then you absolutely love the P word, do you?
Yeah.
Predictive, prevention, personalized, parallel. I will remember those. We'll quiz everybody.
You want to remember this 8 P words, and I think it has a lot of wisdom. I have to say I did not start it, right? The 3 P words, predictive, preventive, and personalized, were first talked about by a very famous scientist, Li Hu. He invented the first DNA sequencer, the machine that determines our DNA that you are using. And so he talk about 3. Then the director of the National Institute of Health, Francis Collins, he added another word, the 4th P word that I don't think is very relevant. So I got rid of it. I even don't remember what it is. And so I added 5 additional P words that I think are probably even more important. Maybe not in a scientific sense, but in a practical sense, they are as important as precision and personalized. And every single word is important. I would welcome additional P words that are important, but I thought about it. I could not come up with more that are not already covered in the 8.
I would say purposeful, right?
Purposeful, sure. Yeah.
Those can be. It's not a P, but I love contextualized solutions. Without the context, it could be meaningless, right? But we can talk about this forever. But I love your system, the Tao, the 8 pillars, and how people memorize, how people reinforce. We'll get into that the next multiple sessions, I'm sure, and I will share my experience on your program, like the gentleman Johnson, right?
Yeah.
So how is Brian doing that?
Well, Brian's doing great. Brian is, on many biomarkers, he's perfect, and I think he has made a lot of contributions. I think the number one contribution he's making is to get people to think about the topic. What you don't want to really think about don't die. I mean, sure, immortality, sure, they may not be the ultimate goals, but it's a way to get people really start thinking about the issue. Now, if we can achieve the minimum goal of what the movement is about, that's going to do a lot of good for a lot of people. That's enough for me. So with Brian, the press is talking about it, the celebrities are talking about it. I think that's a good is a very good thing. Personally, I don't want to badmouth about Brian, but I think Brian is I know he has a medical team. I'm part of it, but he's not he himself is doing it in a personalized precision way. But what he preaches to his followers is not a precision program. That would be my criticism. Precision does take some money, but it doesn't have to take a lot of money. The struggle that we will have is how do we come up with programs that are affordable by as many people as possible. Achieving health and longevity, this is not, it's going to take money. Someone has to pay for it, right? I hate to talk about the money, but people have to understand that it's going to take some money. What the government should pay, what we should pay out of pocket, and these are more bigger political issues than we can address. But I think he has made a lot of contribution. He's doing great.
Yeah, I it's entertaining. He's too extreme for me. And there's resources, everything, but just the number of metrics he measure, he take, supplements and everything, as you know by heart.
It's extreme, but I do agree with you. But it does take extreme cases to get the attention.
Right.
And
as a campaign,
if Brian Johnson does what I do, I take 20, 30 supplements, and I'm not going to get toward the popular press. I get to some, but not to the degree.
Well, you are already famous.
So.
No, but I'm not trying to. I just saying it's inaccessible to lots of people, but at the same time, we need someone. It's just not only himself, right?
Well, I think the point we can make is it does not take Brian Johnson's resource to get the outcome. That's what I want people to understand. They are much cheaper ways to achieve good outcome without spending world money. And by the way, people misunderstand Brian Johnson because $2 million a year is not worth spend on his own program. He's developing new knowledge and new solutions. And when it's said and done, what he is proposing is not terribly expensive. But I think we can incorporate the testing in a much cheaper way, in a more informative way, for people to get the benefits. There are ways to do it. We didn't have time to dive into the details, but there are a number of nutrition elements, and supplements, and tests that we should do, and with the basic plan, you can actually achieve and you can get a lot of benefits.
I completely agree. So I need to be respectful for your time, which you are using to make the world healthier every day. So it's been pleasure. We can do this forever, and we will try to do that more often. So thank you, Professor Jin-Xiong She. It's a pleasure, and then thank you for making time to share your wisdom.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
We'll have you back. And thank you for, I saw most of our members all stay on, and schedule your complimentary counseling with our fantastic registered dietitian. We share so much care in those conversations. And as I said, this is a mini series we just started on cellular aging. I know we don't have nearly enough time to get through all the wisdom and the evidence that between Dr. She and myself know about healthspan on cellular, but we will cover them all. So do watch out for the recap for this wonderful program, and then the invitation for the next time. Again, thank you for your time. It was the most precious thing. I will see you next time, and be well.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you.